Hello and welcome to Spherical Luminosity's YouTube Live. Today we are discussing an important topic. What the hell is going on? I laugh, but it's painful at the same time. So anyway, if you could, as you already, some of you already are doing, comment in the chat your first name and where you're from so I can see you. And there is Elizabeth Malcolm from New Zealand, one of our staunch supporters, and we have Nanette, who is here from Denmark, and it's like bloody early in the morning, so good on you, Nanette, you're like amazing. And then we have Bernadette from Delaware, and Michelle, I think, from Colorado. Oh, hello, the Lawrences, we haven't seen you in a little bit, welcome. And there's Betsy from Encinitas, and Genevieve for Vermont. Oh, hello, Gail, there's Gail. Anyway, Gail is here and Will's here from Australia. Wow, we have people from all over the place. Thank you so much for joining us. And I can't say everybody's name who is here, but we have Annabeth also from Denmark. Holy moly. So there are many, many of you that I did not say hello to, but thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Karen Chong. Many of you know me already and some of you don't. So for those of you who are new, I help to catalyze awakening and a rise in human consciousness by releasing people's blocks at what I refer to as frequency level, amplifying your awareness of the divine within so you can recognize and live the abundance and limitlessness of your true nature as infinite, indestructible consciousness. This is your birthright, and the time for humanity to awaken to this possibility is now. So for those of you who are brand spanking new to frequency work and don't know much about it, I'd recommend checking out episode 176, Frequency Work Fundamentals Reboot, of my podcast, Mastering Your World Through Frequencies, on this very same channel. And once again, that's episode 176. So today, we're talking about what the hell is really going on, because there's a lot going on right now. A lot of people are noticing things in the physical. It's getting a little squirrely out there for some people. So I wanted to address what's happening on spirit level to give context so that you can use this time to ascend, as opposed to getting caught in the, let's call it, messiness of what's happening currently. All right, so joining me tonight by popular demand is my fantastic co-host of Mastering Your World Through Frequencies and also this YouTube Live, Ms. Fiona Malcolm. Hello!
Popular demand, my mother?
Well, me. Anyway, all right. So, where are we going, Fiona?
Well, I mean, I thought you were being really polite. What the heck? Or what the hell?
It's more like WTH.
Yeah. What the fudge is going on? I feel like we talk about this a lot, but in this particular last 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
I've felt a different kind of intensity that I haven't actually experienced up until now. So what I'd love to talk about is, I know there's planetary stuff and universal stuff happening. I'd love to cover that.
Yep.
And because it somehow gives me peace of mind, you know, that it's not just me.
Yeah.
This is universal. And then maybe perhaps talk about how we can see that, how it is in our daily life, how we can recognize it, how capture it, and like you say, how to capture it and use it as a tool to raise our frequency, ascend, you know. Can we do that in 30 minutes?
Yeah, we'll try. But I think we can. I think we'll have fun.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
So tell us what's happening on the planet, and then the things that we found out that are happening.
Right. So, okay, so on the 3D level, okay, on a planetary 3D level, what is affecting our mental, emotional state and our bodies are a number of things. So, as you may have heard me talk about, there was a massive solar magnetic storm that happened, what is it, 3 or 4 weeks ago now, right? And once again, the solar flares have gotten really intense, and they have actually hit the Earth. They're hitting the Earth atmosphere yesterday and today. So when that happens, the amount of electromagnetic pulsation that goes through the planet as it hits our atmosphere is very strong. Now, you don't necessarily see it. It's not like the whole reality goes like, wah, you know, or anything like this, but your body feels it. And it is like a really big, because your body is part electric, part magnetic, part physical, part spirit, all that sort of stuff, we are impacted by it. So there's that happening.
Yeah, because I mean, it knocks out satellites.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's like a metal object. It
Yes.
knocks out a satellite.
Totally.
We're made up of water.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of impact must that have
Yes.
on a body that's made of water and, you know, vibrating cells?
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and that's why living your brilliance is so important right now, because part of living your brilliance is to use the intensity of the time, not only to adapt to what's happening, but also to rise. Okay, so that's why it's really important. But to answer your question exactly, so the cellular, like the waters of our body are changing, and the crystalline structure of our waters are changing. And anybody in the Limitless Potential Mastermind knows this, right? So it's something that we're working on a lot. It's required in order for, and I realize this is kind of an advanced thing, but it's required because, okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. I didn't realize we were going down this path, Fiona Malcolm. But here we are. Okay, so as some of you may know, you have your spirit body, which is a sphere at arm's length all around you, right? And it's of light. It projects within you, or within itself, right in the very center, the physical hologram of your body. Okay. Around your spirit body, there's something called your light body. Your light body is not static, meaning it first of all, it's not, let's say, active unless you reach a certain level of frequency resonance. Okay, so I'm going to say that first. It is a quantum structure. So meaning that it's multidimensional in its nature. It's an aspect of you. So just before anyone goes like kind of nuts, it's not like it's something else imposed on you. It's you. It's just like a different structure that creates you. But you need to be resonating high enough for it to be there. The reason you care about your light body is because, like I said, it's quantum in nature and it's multidimensional and it's you. So it starts to, once it becomes active, help your physicalness, the physical, mental, emotional aspect of you that is more dense, to start to rise faster in your resonance. That's really why you care about it. But it also starts to allow you to have more awareness, more intuition, a greater sense of like what's happening from, you know, like the big as self perspective, that infinite, indestructible part of you, consciousness part of you, versus just the physicalness. So to get back to your question, why do we care about the whole waters thing? Okay. When the so water is crystalline in structure. When this kind of solar flare, all this upgrade stuff is happening, the crystalline structure of your waters change. That matters because once that happens, the light body can interact with the crystalline structure of the waters of your body in a way that's much more integrated. Okay,
so this kind of, when you're talking like that, that makes me think then if this is actually an upgrade. That's what makes me think.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, lots of people are doing Living Your Brilliance. They've done Relationship with the One. Maybe some people haven't. Forgive me for that. But that whole point of this type of work and these type of workshops was to teach us about that connection to the big S. And, the creator of all, whatever we want to call it.
Sure.
And it sounds like this is like an opportunity to take that step up again.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because, thank you for raising that, because really the point of the light body, that, like I said, is quantum. So it is inherently part of the oneness. And it's a more, it's a less limited perspective than what we have as our human minds, you know? It is aware that is intrinsically, like I said, part of the one. And also, because it's multidimensional, it has the ability to have a much higher perspective, vibrational perspective, even if you can't consciously be aware of it. It exists there. It's part of you. And as it starts, and people who are in Limitless Potential Mastermind know this because we've been working on it recently, the integration of the light body through the physical body is new. And it's just starting to happen. And it's extremely exciting because that's integration. So just to back up out of this, I mean, who cares? Like, why? Because we are approaching the experience of being consciousness, having an embodied experience. But most of us have the experience of being a human. You know what I mean? Like a human in a body.
Yeah.
Like that's our experience.
And every now and then tapping into.
Yeah, having that
Right.
experience of that expansion. But what we're approaching is that experience of I am consciousness. I am aware of myself as consciousness. Getting to have a human experience. That's a very, very different perspective. So in order to have that, you need to have this integration through the physical body of the light body. And the reason that's so exciting, and like people are like, again, who cares? It's because these two things vibrate at very, very different rates. Just imagine your body's like really low on vibration, it's dense. And then you have your light body, which is multidimensional, quantum in nature, extraordinarily high in its vibration. So for it to overlap with the physical density that's you is an extraordinary thing. It means that the physicalness that's you has to be vibrating high enough for the two things to overlap.
I've got it. Otherwise, it's like putting your finger in a socket.
Yeah.
A 240 volt socket, and you're just going to explode. But now you're basically what you're saying is we can put the finger in the socket. It's okay.
Pretty much.
Kinda.
Yeah, exactly. Without you exploding, leaving your body, dying, etc. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, because I mean, I heard as well. I can't remember the official technical name for it, but the people that do the ley lines and measuring the ley lines, they've talked a lot about in the last 3 months that these ley lines, they always moved. It wasn't that they never moved, but they'd always come back, you know, so they'd move a little bit and then come back, move a little bit and come back. But now they've moved and they're not coming back and they're getting wider.
Yeah.
And what some of them are saying, and they're reputable, you know, well respected ley liner people, I can't remember that these are ley line expansions are becoming so big that they're banging in to the other ley lines that are expanding, and we get these wave crests, so ley lines.
Yeah, surging.
And they're saying that's what's happening within us as well.
Yeah.
So it's like we are getting these little powers up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, just like you're saying, you know, the ley lines are expanding, and then they bash into each other.
Yeah.
We're doing that, but with our higher levels of us.
Yes.
You know, so as our physical vibrational rate, and that's why frequency work is important, because it's not about negation of the body. That's not the point, right? You're supposed to ascend with your body, right? At least that's, if you're attracted to frequency work, that's what you're interested in.
Yeah.
Some people ascend by dying, but people who are attracted to frequency work want to ascend in their bodies. Okay,
they want to have that experience.
Yes, so that's what you've chosen. And so, as your frequency resonance of you rises, the physical, and this is why it's so exciting. We've cleared enough of our distortion out of the mental, emotional, physical realm, which is dense.
Yeah.
For the physical part of ourselves to be vibrating high enough that we start to bang into the spirit body, the light body. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of that analogy you had of the ley lines smashing into each other.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what we're doing, but in a good way, but it kind of feels a little bit weird to us.
Yeah.
Because it's not like this, well, maybe it is for some people, but for many people, it doesn't feel like this graceful, smooth expansion. You know, it kind of feels...
Why not?
I'm
sick of all this knockety, buckety, crunchy stuff.
I know. Yeah, it's intense, and especially the waves that went through like about 2 weeks ago. Man, it was about 2 weeks ago. This went tomorrow, Wednesday. Man, it was intense. Like that wave, I was just like, whoa.
And time.
Yeah.
Did you notice time with
Yeah,
that?
time got really weird. It's still a little bit weird to me, but it was really weird there for like, I don't know, like a good few days, where it was like, it was really expansive, and then it would contract really suddenly, and like, it didn't matter how much you were trying to get done, you couldn't get enough done, and then all of a sudden you had all this time. It was like very like this.
Yeah, what is it, the accordion?
Yeah.
It felt like an accordion.
Yeah.
You know, and the pressure it takes to push it, and then the release. It was like,
Yeah. Exactly. And it was kind of, it's just been weird, people. And so I think what's happened is, that's why being in your center is so important at this time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why releasing distortion is so important at this time, because the more, why? Okay, so coming back to your center is really important, so you don't lose the plot. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically you don't go nuts, and so that you can just have a sense of stability, even though there's all this like chaos going around, even though emotionally it can feel very like this, right? Even though there's a lot of drama happening in people. So being able to center yourself and being able to stay in your center and be with what's happening is really critical. And the thing about distortion is when this is happening, it amplifies.
Yeah.
It gets shriekier because you're supposed to release it. It's supposed to be like, hey, this old crap that you thought you got rid of, oh, look, there are some dregs here. Yeah, you missed that bit. You want to get rid of those bits? So if you guys have been feeling some of your distortion, because it's really up right now. So some people's, not some people, everyone's distortion right now, I feel like has been up in the past 2 weeks.
Well, that segues into what I was going to ask you, keeping in mind that I'm sure people have questions. How do we, like, give us some ideas of what it looks like?
Yeah.
You know, how do we see it in people? How do we see it in our relationships? What kind of things inside us show us that this strange phenomenon of being upgraded is happening?
Yeah. So the thing is, relationships are hard right now, I've noticed. And it's not just relationship with other people, it can be with ourselves. It can be at a time that's really emotional, so, and in a way that is not normal. I've had people say, like, typically my when I go into detox or an upgrade, I don't have anger, but like, man, I have just been this angry cow for like 4 days straight. And finally, she crested out of it. But like, like that's what I'm saying. It's like very emotional, not in a good way. We can be very impatient. We can go into like old worry patterns, old scarcity patterns, like lack of trust, people out to get us, like assuming that things are going to go wrong. Like again, did I mention scarcity? So whether it's scarcity of time, that can be really up right now. And it may not be something you are experiencing, but you may notice it in the people around you. That could be something else that people are
I experienced every single one of them. Go on, sorry.
Yeah. And so you can just feel fatigued and just not want to be with people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, right now, people can be just really oversensitive to other people. You're just like, okay, no, I just can't right now. I can't be with anyone. And that's not just, that in a way is just knowing yourself. It's like I'm not in a position right now where I want to be with other people, not just for me, but for them. You know what I mean? Because I know how I am right now and it's not particularly awesome. And I know that I don't necessarily want to have that kind of impact on people around me. So I'm going to like hold myself away a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. And I'm noticing that right now in relationship, it's hard to, and we're going to go more into this in Bainbridge, but it's like people are becoming very, very clear on how other people are. Because a lot of times, like, in work relationships or even friendships, we have a hope and an expectation from the other person. So let's just take the example of work, right? So in the example of work, like, you hope that if you do, you're working for someone else and you work with integrity and you work very hard and you do the extra mile and you're, all the stuff, that in the end you would be rewarded for that because you're doing your work well. And we have a hope and an expectation that we'll be rewarded for that as, is reasonable. But what's happening is that I've noticed this, and it's just like story after story after story where people are like, the person that they're working for isn't what they appear to be on all kinds of levels. Whether it's like from total like lying for who they were to they represented one thing and are not, or are more controlling, or are manipulative, or a little bit crazy, or you know what I mean, and like playing people, or whatever the thing is. Okay, I there's a number of things, but it's almost like the blinders of hope and expectation of like being rewarded for doing well. It's kind of like it's gone. So it's like you see like for real like what's there. Do you know what I mean? Like we can be blind sometimes to like what it is the person is because we hope for something. And I feel like that is off, and is like those blinders are off, and it's just like this moment where people are revealing themselves of who they truly are. It's kind of interesting. And what's fascinating to me is some people are really seeing those people for who they truly are, and some people want to put the blinders on more firmly. It's like they want to wrap extra bandanas around their eyes and not
Make it go away.
Make it go away. They don't want to see what's really happening in front of them. So I find that kind of an interesting reaction. So relationships right now are just weird, and because we have the combination of these old distortion patterns of for ourselves, whether it's like, for example, I've been seeing a lot of non-worthiness come up, like non-deserving. When it hasn't been a challenge for a while, it's like people have come into peace with themselves. They're content. They are aware of their distortion. They have released a lot of their non-worthiness, but then it like, comes up again within the context of relationship. So it just...
How does that look?
So it could be like anything from not feeling like they were, for example, like they're doing really well at work and they're content and they have a good team and they're like actually helping to raise the resonance of other people in the team, and you know what I mean? They're doing their thing. And then all of a sudden wondering like, are they doing a good enough job? Are they really contributing the way that they thought, or did they make it up?
Yeah.
Are they really making a difference?
And how would that look in a romantic relationship?
Yeah, so that could be, man, I mean, people spiraling in self-doubt or worry can show up, and it could be about like sometimes I've noticed it can be taking the other person for granted, actually.
Right.
That is showing up somehow, and then, or perceiving that the other person takes them for granted. That's what I mean, right? So like, I feel like you are taking me for granted. You're not, but I perceive that you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and they're like, not really sure why you have that perception.
I think as well, if I'd like to add one, I think maybe you can correct me if this is wrong, but let's just say there's a situation where a man and a woman, not talking about anybody in particular,
just friends.
just friends, a man and a woman are discussing about things that need done, and the woman's saying, well, I really need you to help me with this, but right at that moment in time, a text comes through and that man decides to help the other person. It's like, I'm less important. You know, and feeling hurt and wounded. Yeah. Could it look like that as well?
Good example, Fiona.
Very human woman.
Yeah, totally.
Good with that.
Or like beating yourself up, like for example, with people interacting with their kids and like feeling like they are not being a good parent, you know, because they're having their own emotional response or whatever. And it's kind of a, like I said, it's a wonky time where we are, even our perception of ourselves and a perception of others is kind of strange, you know, as we go through this period of this upgrade where everything's kind of like doing this and everything is reorganizing.
So when it showed, can I just squeeze in another?
Yeah, go for it.
Just watching the time. So when it shows up like that, because I had this random moment on Sunday of fear came up for like felt like the bowels of my belly.
Yeah.
It was stuff that was like, I wouldn't even have thought about in like maybe 4 years.
Yeah,
and I was like kind of frozen to the spot, and I could feel my heart going. I thought, what's going on? What's going on? And I realized, oh, this is fear. This is fear of loss, fear of scarcity. What? You know?
Yeah.
And I kind of had to really pull myself in. I did the mastery momentum. How far away is that from me?
Yeah, you're triangulating.
You know, my husband's like, what are you doing? Just give me a minute.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean by old distortion patterns are coming up. So fear is coming up. That's what I mean by like scarcity, and it's visceral.
Okay.
Like people. I'm sorry. Go
sorry,
ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off because I wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm worried I'm going to forget.
Okay,
that's right.
Go ahead.
So in that moment, why is it coming up? What's the purpose of it? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah. So the reason these are coming up is because, okay, so big picture.
Yeah.
Part of, I'm backing up. I swear I'm going to answer your question. But part of what's happening right now, in order to be consciousness, having an embodied experience, you have to break away from the illusion. Okay? The illusion is, you know, the 3D reality, like what you think is real. And bound in the illusion is all this fear, right? And this limitedness and not enoughness and scarcity and like loss, and that we're finite, and that, and then this like, you know, for some people, it's just like this, I can't survive without this other person, like that kind of like visceral feeling of like, almost like death, right? So I've heard all these different stories, for example, of like people like investing, and then they thought it was an investment, but it turns out to be a scam. People who had started a new job and helped build a company, and the people who hired them, they turned out to be a scam. It's just really strange, you know what I mean? Like, and so, but what it evokes is an incredible amount of like survival type response.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I mean by like old, dense, heavy-ass distortion that's very mired in the illusion. That makes us really, you know, as humans, we're very scared, right? We tend to be scared of dying. We tend to be scared of losing people we love. We tend to be scared of not being loved enough, and that we won't be enough and we won't have enough, right? Because again, what are all those things? Limited, 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 limited. It means that you actually don't really have access to the infinite, which is an aspect of you. I'm not saying it's all of you, but it's an aspect of you. So when you're in that limitedness of the illusion, you get weirdly freaked out about stuff that isn't actually that important. Like, do you know what I mean? Like we as humans can, I'm not saying it doesn't feel important in that moment, because it bloody does. But you know what I mean? But if you back up from it, like if you weren't in that state, you'd be like, why am I so worried about this? Like it's not really an issue, but yet I'm treating it as if, like my fear response is as if it's like life or death. That's what I mean by these old distortion patterns are coming up, because it's for you to break away from the belief in the illusion.
Oh, so in that moment, like confirm, delete.
Yes.
Aha.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, luckily I did that, but you know, I was just thinking, why? What? Why is this coming again?
Yeah,
now?
exactly.
You know,
exactly. And
out of the blue, like
out of the blue, and that's the context for it. Like about my long ass thing that I just said that you took, you said in one like a very nice succinct line. So that's the context, what I was talking about, for why it is that you need to confirm remove in that moment. So to confirm remove is the solution, and the reason you're doing that is because what you're doing by confirming the removal is not just releasing the distortion of the fear or the whatever it is that you're experiencing, but it's actually more than that. It's actually the like, I refuse to be limited by what feels real to me, but is really an illusion.
Okay.
You see?
Yep.
So that's why it's so critical at this time. And, you know, because we're tired, many of us anyway, it's harder to ignore those things, and it's harder to not have that visceral response.
Yeah.
And I know it's painful, but like to still confirm remove in the face of that kind of intensity is an extraordinary act of power, right? Even if you might be like, oh my God, did I do it right? Did I do it enough? Is it completely gone? It's not about completely eradicating it. It's just in that moment, are you aware of it? Or even a few hours later, are you aware of it? And can you still go back and confirm remove it? Because you know you can.
Yeah.
But it's even the awareness that you know that you can, which is the important part. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So please don't beat yourself up like, oh my God, in the moment, I didn't know. I don't know if I got it all completely. Am I still stuck in the illusion? Am I going to still ascend? You know, it's not about like perfection. It's just about like, in that moment, were you aware? And if not, a few hours later, the next day, you're like, oh crap, right? That I have to confirm remove. It's to have that distance and space and still confirm remove despite it.
Just have that awareness.
Yeah.
Even, like, yeah, I am awake. I am watching. I am paying attention.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I don't want to buy into this anymore because it's not, I know it feels real, but it's not really true. Like it doesn't have to be my reality. And that is what you're claiming right now. It doesn't feel like it when you're in it. When you're in it, it just kind of sucks, okay?
Yeah.
So, and to know that you can, and it's not about doing it perfectly and anything like that. It's just like you said about even having the awareness, like, wait a minute, this is that thing that they were talking about. You know, it's like, okay, I understand what's happening, but man, it feels really real. Right? Because that's the illusion. It feels really real. I don't know if you're aware of it, but I mean, like, the illusion feels really real. It's the point of the illusion, right? And to be like, okay, it's all right, I got it. I got it. I just have to be aware of my body, be aware of my connection to pure source, and now I'm going to confirm remove the thing.
Yeah. And like what I added in was, for myself, really, was that I am more than these thoughts and these feelings.
Yeah.
There is an aspect of me that is completely... have pure source or creator embodied within this being called Fiona. It's like, grab onto that.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of...
Yeah, and even if you can't feel it, so some people are like, I think some people feel like they have to feel like their brilliance or this like beautiful connection with the oneness in that time. You don't need to, because you're in the space where you're struggling.
Yeah.
So it's just to like, you might even have to declare out loud, like, I know this feels real, but it's not necessarily true. So even like, I've done that too, where you just actually say that to yourself. You're like, this doesn't have to be my truth right now.
Yeah.
Okay, even though it feels this way, I get it, but I'm not going to succumb to this emotion right now. I refuse. Okay, so even if you do partially, the fact that you even like say that out loud to the air, you don't have to say it to anyone else.
Yeah.
But just by even saying it out loud, you're like, no, I don't allow this.
Yeah, it's like a proclamation, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that can be really helpful.
Okay, I'm really conscious of the time.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that maybe we should put it to the floor.
Yes.
What is it they have to do to get the question?
Okay. So before the GFC, which we're going to get to, we're going to give away some very awesome prize. And the very awesome prize is the, what is it? Stability, opportunity, and
Amidst chaos.
leadership amidst chaos. And if you, for those of you who are new, if you want to receive emails in your inbox about the new podcast releases, which always includes a group frequency calibration meditation, or when I go live for these YouTube lives, then please be sure to subscribe to become a Spherical Luminosity Luminary. Only Spherical Luminosity Luminaries are invited to our special community events like the recent Loneliness Cure workshop that I gave for free, or the first session of Living Your Brilliance that we offer for free once in a while. So if you want to receive any or all of that, plus the free centering GFC you receive for signing up, you can subscribe at the very bottom of our homepage at sphericalluminosity.com. In order to get the prize thingy, though, I think you just have to write #stability, right? #stability. Only that word and nothing else to get access to that very awesome workshop. It was a weekend workshop. And so if you would like that, go ahead, write a #stability. If you have a question for me, then write the word question in caps or so we can see it, and then I will endeavor to answer as many of them as possible. All right.
You mentioned you'll be covering some of that work in Bainbridge. Will you cover that work like what we were talking about at the very beginning, how the crystalline structure within it, is that going to be covered?
Yeah, so it's funny. I always, before retreats, I always know that they're really big because of the process that I go through beforehand.
Yeah.
It's not very comfortable, to be honest. I can't say I totally relish them. But they are important in terms of the upgrade experience that we've been talking about in order to be able to give the work that's coming for the retreat. So that process is happening in order for me to be prepared to give what we're giving in Bainbridge. So the crystalline structure of the waters of the body is something that we're going to be working with in Bainbridge in order to have this deeper integration with this higher level of consciousness, light body, etc., to have a more integrated experience so it's not so bumpy.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're going to be doing is activating the heart, like the magnetism of the heart, right? And that is going to, what's great about that is when you're resonating high enough and that light body is activated and the crystalline structure of your waters are activated, when you activate the magnetism of the heart, it totally changes the nature of your relationship with yourself and your relationship with others. And right now, I mean, I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but the relationship with others is a little weird.
No idea what you're talking about.
It was funny, someone said to me like that week that, I don't know, that wave came through like 2 weeks ago, Wednesday. He was saying that like his relationships had started to get crunchy, and then on Wednesday night they went nuclear. That was really funny. I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, apparently there's been another mass ejection on Friday there, just past. So
From the sun, you mean?
yeah.
Well then, okay, so we have lots of questions. All right, Christopher, here we go. Okay, this question's from Pam. With lots of sleep-deprived nights at the moment, how do you keep your frequency resonance high when you're feeling depleted? Okay, so this is something I'm experiencing myself right now, so I'm really tired. I nap a lot because I have to, and then I am very vigilant with regards to how much I'm taking off my plate. Because we have a lot of things to do, and I think it's really hard when you're sleep deprived to expect that you can be doing as much as you're used to. So to be aware of that. And I think that people confuse sometimes having your frequency resonance being high and your bioenergy being high. So I just want to distinguish between those two things. So your bioenergy is like what the Chinese would call your qi. Okay, or your life force. And your life force is obviously very much of your body. and it's what makes you feel like replenished and nourished and rested and like vibrant and vital and all those wonderful things. So when one is sleep deprived, the life force feels low because you're freaking tired, all right? So that's just the way it is, all right? So we're just call it what it is. So you're tired, okay. So to understand that you're tired, that's different to me than your resonance being high. Does that make sense? So you can be really tired and feel like exhausted and also have a high resonance, okay? Which means that you're aware that of your own resonance, you're aware of your body, you know what I mean? Like you can be aware of those things and know that you're not physically capable of doing the same numbers of things that you used to do before. So you can't work out as hard. You can't, what you want to eat or not is different. How much you can produce is different. How much you can focus is different. So to be aware that your bioenergy is depleted and to do the self-care you need to in order to resource it, but then to also be aware that your resonance doesn't have to be sacrificed because your bioenergy is low. Except they're not the same thing. So that just means that you may have to give yourself more time in meditation. That's why I'm saying give yourself more space. So to be aware that you need to be aware of your resonance and your resonance as it is interacting with other people and be like, actually right now, this is not a good time for me to be interacting with this person. I need to remove myself. And there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that you're feeling more tired, so your ability to hold your resonance high is more impacted, and perhaps you're more sensitive. So if that's happening, to just not interact as much with other people, for example, right? So hopefully it answers your question, Pam. Yeah. And you might just need to do, excuse me, more things like more GFCs, more meditation, more things that nourish you, like being out in nature, walking, that type of thing. Why would anyone feel resistance to getting internally quiet, like for a GFC, a meditation, or even shutting off thoughts at bed? Sometimes I avoid getting into that state. Yeah, so the reason that happens is because you have an ego mind and also a pain body. And so when there's a lot of change that's about to happen, what can happen is your ego mind resists. Okay, it's just like, no, I don't want it. It's like a little child temper tantrum. It's fascinating. I'm not laughing at you. I mean, believe me, it happens to me too. Okay, so you're just like, okay, this is all right. We're going into resistance. Wonderful.
Yeah. It sucks when that happens.
I know, and you just notice when it's happening. So it's like so first of all, good on you for having the awareness that you're in resistance. Okay, that's awesome, because a lot of people don't even realize they're in resistance. So that's great. So what I would say is, if you're having trouble because you're agitated to the point that you're resisting stillness, it is usually an ego mind distortion where you don't want to have the change. Okay, I'm not saying, meaning that there's an aspect of you that doesn't want the change. Okay, so obviously you do on some level. If not, you would not be wanting to have the change. Clearly, obviously you do. And there's an aspect of you that is in resistance. Okay, because put it this way, when personally I have encountered this level of resistance for myself, it's usually because the change that's coming is tremendous. And your ego mind is like, no, it's like throwing a little temper tantrum and it doesn't want it. So for me, when I've noticed that in myself, my resolve goes up because I'm like, oh, no. This is not gonna win. After I notice my little resistance and temper tantrum and worry and whatever the heck it is going on, I'm like, to me, what I dig into is resolve. I'm like, because I know it enough to be like, the change that's coming is huge if I allow it, and I'm not freaking allowing it. So, okay, pissy pants, we're gonna have to work through this. So what you can do, Grace, is if you're agitated and you don't want to go into stillness, use your body. So move, okay? So don't just sit there doing a GFC, put on your headphones, take yourself out for a walk, listen to the GFC, okay? Go for a run, get in your exercise bike, do whatever you have to do, it doesn't really matter. But move your body, because if you move your body, it will allow you to get out of the agitation of the the crankiness. And that can help you, especially with the GFC running in the background, to feel better. You might want to do something like, if movement is not your thing, but like say, for example, there's some people who really like organizing or like cleaning, start organizing your closets, put on the GFC. You know what I mean? Like just be like, and this is going, and this is going, and this is going, and I'm going to reorganize the space. I'm going to clean my bathroom. I'm going to cook food. Whatever the thing is, it doesn't matter. Just use your body to go into motion to help you, because that agitation needs somewhere to go. And sometimes well, not sometimes, often by moving, it can slow you enough that you can actually allow yourself to receive the GFC.
I also, if I may, I also find useful when that moment comes in. I kind of play with it a little bit. So I know this is happening. I'm getting agitated. I'm resistant. So I'll let it live. I'm not gonna do it. You know, I'll maximize it and get moving. Will kind of queen bee. No, and you can't make me.
Yeah.
And give the middle finger, and I'll stick up my tongue like a little kid. I'll let it have its life. You know, like let it live. And then I'll laugh, you know, because that's what helps me. I laugh, and it takes away the intensity. Oh, I can't sit and meditate. What's going on? I need to meditate, you know, because there's this kind of anxiety around if I don't get into meditation, you know, that kind of way. And somehow it allows me to surrender.
Yes.
Okay, this is just the very human moment.
Yes.
It's happening. Just happen, and I'll fall my sulk. I'll just let it live.
Yes.
You know. Therefore, I can laugh at it, and then therefore I can go, okay, when the time's right, it's okay, everything's okay, I'm still connected, I'm still aware of my connection, and nothing's happened. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So if I may, you're basically giving voice, or you're giving like emotionality to that resistance.
Yeah, giving it a voice.
Giving it a voice, yeah. So Fiona's very good at sticking out her tongue at it. She's like excellent at it. So she'll do the whole thing, like she'll put her hands on the hips and be like,
I'll stomp my feet.
Yeah,
Oh.
just have the temper tantrum.
I think what's happening underneath as well is the worry. For me, I recognize, I'm not saying this is for Grace, but underneath it all for me was this, what happens if I can't get into meditation? I need to be in this place, I need to be in this need, and it put more pressure on. So if I learned to just relax and surrender and just have a bit of fun with it and let it have a voice, it didn't have that intensity, you know. I found the agitation died away, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully that's helpful for you, Grace. That's a couple of tools for you. Okay. All right. I think we have a time for like a question or two more, and then we'll go into the GFC. When a situation scatters you out of your zero, but you're unaware of what triggered it, how would you recalibrate and address that unknown situation? Oh, that's an excellent question. Okay, so it's okay that you don't know what triggers it. I actually don't know that you need to know exactly what it is in that moment. I don't think it's important. I think the most important thing is to notice that you're out of your zero, first of all. So that to me is the most critical thing, because then you can put yourself back into zero. For me, and I don't know how you feel about this, Fee, but like for me, when I'm back in my zero, things get clearer.
Yeah.
But the first thing is to get yourself back into zero, because if not, you're up in your head and you're thinking about this and you're kind of freaked out because you're like, oh my God, what's the thing? What if I go back to it? What if I make it worse? What if I get it wrong? What if I don't do it right? What if I don't delete the thing and then I'm back in the place and it gets worse? You see where we're going? Yeah. So the thing is, if you can get yourself back into zero, what happens is the mind chatter stops enough for you to be like, and it might not be right at that moment, because sometimes we demand of ourselves, like we need to know right now what's the thing so we can stop it.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're in this place where we're in resistance to that thing. But as you said, like if you can get yourself back into zero and you notice that, okay, I'm really like worried or upset or anxious because of the situation, but I'm in my zero, so I can be with it in a different way, right?
Yeah.
So I can be with the anxiety. It's not delightful. I'm not saying that it's like a pleasurable experience, but you can be with it in a different way. Like you're not in resistance to it anymore. You're like, okay, right, so I'm freaked out, but it's okay, it'll pass. You know what I mean? And then you can be with it. And then sometime later, I don't know, you're taking a shower and you're like, oh my God, that's totally what it was.
Yeah.
You know? So please don't put the pressure on yourself to be like, and in this moment I'm gonna have ultimate clarity as soon as I get back into my zero, and then everything is gonna become clear and I'm gonna know exactly what to do. If you feel that way, you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and that's also your ego mind trying to find certainty that you can get rid of it.
Yeah.
So part of this is to cultivate the trust that, okay, all you gotta do is get yourself back into zero. So what does that mean? It means, okay, I need to be aware of my body. I need to be aware of the present moment of linear time. I need to be aware of my connection to pure source. Okay, breathe. It's going to be okay. And then just to trust that it's going to be okay, and to know like that what you're feeling, that frustration, the anxiety, the stress, the whatever it is, you can be okay with. Allow yourself to be in it, and then it will unfold, is my experience of it.
Yeah, and I think I would like to talk to the how would you recalibrate?
Yeah.
So for me, always my tool is, you know, the Mastery Momentum 6 Core Essentials.
Mm-hmm.
I always defer, refer, and whatever to that, because it's, you can take it everywhere. So in that moment, the triggering, everything's happening, it's literally just my big toe, tap, tap, tap. That's my big toe. Okay, where's my heel? Heel, tap, tap, toe, heel, toe, heel. I just go like this until, okay, yeah, I'm back. I've gone for here, and I'm now in here.
Here, yeah.
So now I can begin the journey back into that zero.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
my tool.
Yeah, exactly. And so that I think we talk about, I think that's the it's the second core essential, which is centering into the zero. So if you don't know what Fee's talking about, then that is in Master Momentum 6 core essentials. Those 6 core essentials are so critical because, you know, we try, as humans, and I'm not just saying this is you, Mighty Savage, this is everybody. We tend to make things more complicated than they need to be.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're like, okay, we have to do all the things and, I don't know, magically, I don't know, do all the stuff. You don't. Find tools, use them over and over again. I mean, I do, right? And it's like, and you know, it's simple is better, I think, when you're having a moment of like meltdown, and it's not like you're like, okay, what are the 25 steps I need to remember? It's like, I need one step. What can I do right now? You know what I mean? So hopefully that helps.
And being triggered is okay.
Yeah, totally.
It's okay because you learn about yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, I need a little bit more strength in there.
Yeah, exactly. Or that's what threw me off center. Like when you come to that realization, I think it's really helpful because you're like, oh, I didn't know that was there.
It's another opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. To release it. Unpleasant, but helpful. All right, last question, and then I think we're going to be complete with questions today. Oh, move on to the, okay. So I think we're going to move, Chris is like, time. So, okay, we're going to move to the giveaway. So anybody who would like to be put into this awesome drawing for this amazing workshop.
Better do it quickly.
You better do it fast because Chris is pulling up the giveaway tool. So remember to put in hashtag stability. Alrighty, and here we go, people. Do 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 do.
We need the music.
I know. I feel like we need the music. Who's the lucky winner? Mamie Chan. Whoa! All right. So that's very exciting. I love the confetti. I don't know what it is about confetti, but it seems very awesome to me. Sparkly things in the air. Okay. So congratulations to Mamie for winning that awesome prize. And all you have to do is write into info@sphericalluminosity.com, and our amazing Spherical Luminosity customer service team will grant that to you, like a magical fairy godmother granting you access. So anyway, there you go, Mamie. Okay, so now we're going to start the most important part of this. Yeah. Whew, okay,
yeah,
so
what journey are you going to
take us on today? So my feeling is, just scanning the group for a second here. So we need to get realigned because there's so much scatter happening. It can be very overwhelming right now. I mean,
yeah,
that's my experience.
Oh yeah.
I'm projecting.
Overwhelming is kind of like not the right word.
Yeah, it's just a lot, and a lot is happening on all levels. And let me just make this little distinction in case it's helpful for people. When your frequency resonance rises, you start to become aware at different levels. And that awareness is something that is unknown to you because it's new. And you and I were just talking about this beforehand, and we're experiencing it in this different way. And that's part of the upgrade process. So when you experience something new, it's not, well, my experience isn't like necessarily like full on, like, this is amazing, I want to share this with everyone. It's just like, what the frick is this? You know what I mean? Like, because it's confusing. It's new, and it's like not how anything used to be and everything. An upgrade process is a recalibration of all of you. And so everything is changing. And so that can be a little bit like, whoa, right? What's going on? And the more that you try to hang on to the way things were, the worse it gets.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of terrible. So what's more important is that you stay aligned and centered and allow for that change shift, however you experiencing it. Okay, I'm not suggesting that you are required to have an upgrade, that you should be, that you know what an upgrade is, that you suck if you're not experiencing this. Not at all. But you're all changing, okay, to whatever degree and however you're experiencing it, all right? And so in order to stay in alignment, to have the most, it's not even smoothness, it's the most like centeredness and ability to not weather the change, but to move with it. It really is important to stay in alignment and centeredness. So that is what we're doing today, okay, with a little bit in there with regards to time. Because time,
let's do it,
is just...
Come on, bring it on.
All right, people, here we go. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, we have to change the microphone. So sorry. So you don't see his hand randomly coming in from the side. Just a All right, Chris has mic'd me up. This is the magic of Christopher. Okay, so here we go. So hopefully, and he's done this because he feels like it's easier for you to hear me when my voice drops, yeah? So thank you, Chris, for being the awesomeness that you are. Here we go. Settling in. Let's rise together. Becoming aware of your body, please. And as you become aware of your body, just becoming aware of the heaviness of your body. Okay, so just for a moment, notice your body settling into whatever's supporting you. Notice the heat of your body against whatever is supporting you. Really becoming aware of this fleshiness. Notice if you resist the heaviness of the body, or if you can sink further into it. This old friend. Good. Yep, and for a moment becoming aware of the soles of your feet. Noticing all of its curves. The edges of your feet. The space between your toes. Good. Excellent. Bringing your attention, please, to your heart space. Right in the center of your chest and your nipple line. And right in the center of that solar plexus.
Your solar plexus is between your belly button and the base of your sternum, or that center bone in the center of your chest. So finding the midpoint between those 2 points. There we go. Hang on. So with your attention on these 2 points, either by just your focus or bringing your fingers or hands to each of these points, asking yourself the question. It's the most important question you can ask yourself. How can I become even more aware of my connection only to pure source? Pulling your frequency resonance up, irrespective of where it began. Imagining, sensing, feeling your brilliance starting to get very, very, very bright. There we go. Good. Bringing your attention right into the center of that heart space. Okay. So there's all this static in the field. Like I said, it's messy right now, right? And we can, as humans, we get very pulled into the seduction of the illusion, the seduction of the distortion. And so we get very scattered. There's a lot of static that happens in our fields, even if we prefer to not have it. So first, let's get rid of the static, okay? And then we need to pull you into center a bit better. Hang on. Softening into the center of the heart space, please. Good. Better. Yep. And now becoming aware of your groin, your lower belly, and your heart space. Okay. So this has to do with that feeling of like not necessarily ready to be with others right now. Perhaps it's like a sensitivity that you haven't had before that is new that you're stepping into. For others of you, it has to do with being visible, struggling right now. That is up for some of you. So depending on who you are and what's happening and what subgroup you're in. Okay, releasing this. So you have more space to allow yourself to be in this space of nothingness. There we go. There we go. Softening, please. Even more into that lower belly. Really good. Yep. Bringing your attention to the heart space, please. So we can feel a little bruised in this time. It's like we're getting a little bit battered about, okay? Because it's intense. It's not like, I don't know, this little cakewalk at the park for most of us, right? Some of you are just cruising, and that's great. If that's your experience, it's amazing. And for most of you, it's not your experience, okay? So if you're not experiencing the bruising, wonderful. We'll just expand the heart space, which will allow you to expand even more and raise your resonance even more. If you're one of the I'm being battered about people, then what's happening was we'll release the bruising basically in the heart space, because that can cause you to contract and drop your resonance. Okay, because I mean, obviously, if you're feeling bruised, it's not like feeling awesome. So let's release all this. Okay. Yep. And still deep in the heart space. So for some of you, there's a subgroup here where it's like you're being punished right now. Okay, so there's patterns of victim and being punished and the expectation that things are going wrong because you're screwing it up, rather than you're being faced with these distortions that are intense, that are pulling you back into the illusion. And it's for you to be like, nuh-uh, I choose something different, right? It's not easy, and you can do it. So releasing all these patterns here. Yeah. Really good. Yeah. Imagining, sensing, feeling, becoming aware of a really clear, crystalline light expands through the heart space. So bringing your attention to your heart space and to your right shoulder blade. Okay, we're going to need to clear this distortion pattern that this time only has to do with challenge and it feeling hard. Even in the feeling hard, there are moments of beauty. There are moments of expansion, of love, connection, awareness. All that stuff is still present for us, but it isn't as present if we're running this other distortion of the expectation that it's only going to be dreadful and horrible. Okay, so releasing this. Okay, and there's a small subgroup here that you have to suffer in order to have ascension. You don't. I mean, you can, but it's not required. There we go. Yep. Imagining, please, a really beautiful, brilliant, deep blue starts to expand through the heart space, out in all directions around you. There we go. Yep. Good. And right deep in the center of the heart, deep, deep within the body. So this is emotional fatigue from the human experience. It's really up right now. So some of this is yours, some of this is what you're feeling in the field around you. Really keeping your attention here. This is a small subgroup here, which this is despair. Some of you are carrying it from your lineage, okay, or for your lineage, I would say. So for that little subgroup, helping you with that as well. It is not required that you hold it for them. There we go. Okay. Good. So now becoming aware, please, of your crown, your heart space, your groin. All right. So first, we're going to bring you into greater coherence and alignment within yourself, and then with time. Here we go. Just imagining those 3 points. Imagining the connection between these 3 points. Perhaps you'll imagine a figure 8 that connects them. Good. So as you imagine these 3 points, now adding in the center of your heart all the way out to the furthest point of your spirit body, right in front of your heart space. And from your heart, center of your heart space, backwards towards the spirit body. Okay? So those 2 points in the spirit body, directly in front of the heart space, directly behind it, in addition to the 3 points. Pineal gland, heart space, base of the groin. Bringing in alignment with time. Ooh. Now, some of you may experience an expansion through the heart space. If that is you, you're starting to expand into the eternal now, which is great. If that's not what you're experiencing, it doesn't really matter. Okay? But just for those of you who are, so you have context for what you're experiencing. Significantly better. Okay. Bring your attention now, please, to the heart space, the entire spine, okay, from your tailbone all the way up into your brain, in addition to the spirit body. Okay. So this has to do with allowing your body to be more in flow and more highly adaptive to all the change that's happening on the planetary level. It's a lot going on. Here we go. Really good. All right. Bringing your attention now to that xiphoid process right at the base of your sternum, right? That thick bone in the center of your chest. And about 3 inches or 7 centimeters directly beneath it. Clear out the pain body. Which, as you may know, holds a memory of you before the frequency work was done. So by clearing it out and resetting it, makes your integration a lot easier. You still have to integrate, but it makes it easier. Yeah, and in particular, clearing out from the pain body expectation or anticipation of an expected outcome. Okay, so it'll almost have like a flinch response, or like I said, this anticipation of something happening. We're going to release that, okay, out of the pain body. Here we go. Good. Everyone take a deep breath in, inhaling, holding your breath in for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling with sound. Holding your breath out for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whenever you are ready, starting to breathe normally at your own timing. That was a pretty big GFC, so I would just recommend staying in this resonance for a couple minutes longer. And whenever it feels good to you, blinking your eyes open, looking at something inanimate. And if you found this YouTube Live valuable, if you could please help us out by hitting the like button and leaving a comment after the YouTube Live ends, because that helps us get our content out to more people who need it. Thank you for joining, and I look forward to seeing you again, however our paths cross next. Let's rise together.